Imagine for a second just picking up your guitar, hitting go on a backing track, or maybe you're playing with a band and they just start jamming and you can just freely execute any musical idea that comes to your brain in an instant, traveling all across the neck, full musical freedom. Just imagine having that accessible to you for a second, particularly, say, with improvising. Now, think about the way you might have learned improvising. So something might look like this. Okay, we're in the key of D minor. Here's my D root note, and here's this D minor pentatonic shape. And it's not going to take long. It probably didn't take you long to realize that you kind of feel stuck in that area. And there's nothing wrong with that area. There's nothing wrong with the pentatonic scale. There's nothing wrong with D minor. However, that mindset is what we are going to flip on its end today. What's up, friend? My name is Matthew Dale. I'm here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how to effortlessly solo all across the neck. But first, let's discuss why learning a scale position doesn't really work. Again, there's nothing wrong with the pentatonic scale. There's nothing wrong with shapes inherently. It's the way we learn them. So here's our root note, and then everything else is just a dot on a page. It's what I call playing dots on a page. We know where the root note is. I'm in the key of D minor, and here's my D root note, and the rest is just the shape. That's the mentality that we really want to get out of. And if you're stuck in that mentality, I have a couple of questions to ask you. You can kind of check and see if you might be sort of stuck in this mentality. Take this D minor pentatonic shape, one that you might probably are already familiar with. Where are all of the roots? How many roots in this shape are there? If you answered 3, then you're correct. They're right there. Can you immediately access where those are? How about the thirds of D minor, an F note? Right there. How about the A note? How many A notes or how many fifths are in this scale shape? There's 2. Right there. See how quickly I can access those tones? That's good. That's what we want to develop. That's the kind of the parent triad of my key. That's a D minor triad. What about a D minor 7? Where's my minor 7 interval, the C? They're right there. Where are the D minor pentatonic notes? And what is D minor pentatonic? D minor pentatonic is 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, and then it repeats. See how I'm saying the intervals as I go up this scale shape? If I mix it up, 1, 5, 4, 3, flat 7, 1, flat 3, flat 7, 1. That's all D minor pentatonic information. That's what D minor pentatonic means, those intervals. What about the full D minor scale? What other intervals do we add to that to make it a D minor scale? We add the flat 6 and the second. Here's a second and a flat 6. Here's a second and a flat 6 and another second. So I have a very musical connection to this shape. It's not just dots on a page for me, and it's not going to be just dots on a page for you after this video. But when we're learning how to improvise by this shape, it's really easy to not worry and not care about those intervals because the shape itself is doing the heavy lifting, not really us. We learn that shape, and maybe we learn some good licks within it. But understanding the music and getting a deeper connection with the music takes a back seat, because the shape, again, is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So how do we rectify this? We can create musical pathways for ourselves by completely eliminating the shape from our practice. And notice I'm saying practice. This is stuff that we're doing in the practice room. I'm not saying that all of your solos should do this or you should do this for all your solos from now on. I'm talking about good, legitimate, improvising practice here. And by the way, you're not going to want to miss this exercise in its final form because it does wonders for your guitar playing, feeling free across the entire neck. It's kind of a progression, so it's going to be towards the end of this video, but please stick around for that because it will make a huge difference. So completely eliminate the shape. What does that look like? That looks like just playing D minor pentatonic, D minor scale on one string. Strings themselves don't really have shapes. They just have intervals. And that's what we're learning when we try to play our musical information just on one string. I'm going to play this with D natural minor. I'm going to play this on the high E string. And I'm going to start with E, which is the second degree of the D natural minor scale. So I have E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E. That's D. Natural minor on the E string. I'm going to do this with the B string as well. However, I can't start with B natural. Our key of D minor has a B flat. By the way, if you want to get to know these scales as well as I do, you should download my Essential Music Theory cheat sheet. I'm going to pop a link to it down in the description box below. I'll put it on the screen for you as well. So D natural minor doesn't have a B flat, so I can't start with the open B string. So I'll start with C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C. So now that one string is going to be the template that I'm going to use to practice soloing. It's going to sound something like this. Let me pull my track up here. And let's go ahead and play something from, say, like around right here. So. And so on and so forth, right? I could keep going. And you do want to keep going. You want to get really comfortable with this. But notice something when I was improvising. I wasn't doing... I was actively trying to create melodies, trying to create music, and that's what you want to do with this exercise. This is what I call single string soloing. And the amazing thing that happens, this will completely transform your playing. The amazing thing that happens is because we're not relying on a shape to do our heavy lifting, we are forced into relying on the musical information at hand. And that just might start with the actual notes, which is also a good thing to know. So E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D. But then it also turns into intervals in understanding the sound of every single intervals. To create melodies. I'm going to do this on the B string now, too. I'll back it up to about the same spot. And here's the B string. Right? Making music just on one string. That will completely transform your playing to get out of the habit of thinking of the shape and what does the shape look like to training yourself to understand what the music that you want to create is. But you don't just want to stop in one key and just on a couple of strings. You want to do this all across the neck. So on the high E string, B string, G, D, A, and E. all those strings in multiple different keys. If you want to start with C and really kind of focus on the note names, you can. If you just want to focus on like the interval numbers, which I think is more important, do all of your keys, every single key. And you'll start to see what happens is you'll start to see various patterns of those notes come up in sort of this cyclical way. When we practice scale shapes, we're practicing the guitar in a vertical way, but we're leaving out the horizontal. When we practice on one string, we're practicing the horizontal and getting that more into our playing. This is why you might feel stuck in one particular shape, because you haven't exercised the horizontal muscle. And single string soloing does exactly that. Now, here's the amazing thing that I mentioned earlier. You don't just want to stop with single string soloing. When you get really comfortable on every single one of your 6 strings, you're going to want to try double string soloing. This is the end goal of single string soloing that completely transforms your guitar playing. Happened for me, it'll happen for you. If you do this and you work on this in your own practice time, it will transform your playing. You will be playing effortless solos all across the guitar neck. Double string soloing is using 2 strings at a time. So in, again, our key of D minor here, not just that, but also that at the same time. So you can play a lot more ideas that you would be used to playing, say, in a scale shape. But I'm not thinking of a scale shape. I'm still not thinking of any particular shape. I'm thinking about the intervals. I'm thinking about the real music here. And you'll start to notice various musical patterns that emerge. Let's take just pentatonic, for example. We got these little mini shapes that pop up. Here's a mini shape here. 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 And then back there. Those are all 5 little segments of our 5 shapes. What about something like 3 note per string? I could have this 3 note per string, this 3 note per string, that, and then I'm back. So just on those 2 strings, E and B, I have a lot of material that I can use for my soloing ingredients. But again, the big shift that happens is you're not thinking about the shape anymore. You're recognizing musical patterns that occur on the intervals. If you want some further proof that this actually really works, it can transform your playing, and you can use this in some real-life guitar playing, go back to my intro video. I only used, besides the time that I played this little octave, I only used the B string and the E string for that entire solo. Now, I'm not saying that that's the best solo ever in the world or the best solo that I've ever played, but did it sound like I only used 2 strings? Did it sound like it was more of an exercise, or did it actually sound like a real guitar solo? There's so many musical ideas that can be constructed just on those 2 strings. Now, and I kept it pretty simple, relatively simple in that example in the front, but imagine studying the B and E string, playing those 2 together, and then the G and B, playing those 2 together, getting fluent on those, the D and G, the A and D, and the E and A. Imagine doing that method across all of those string sets, 2 strings at a time, and then combining it all. Now, without the crutch of a shape, just understanding the musical relationship between all of these little segments that we find on the guitar neck, you can freely play your musical ideas up and down the guitar neck. This is by far the most effective way I've learned, and I teach my students, to get to know the fretboard in a very musical way. Single string, and then later graduating into double string. Let me know what you think of single string and double string. If you've done this stuff before, is this kind of a completely foreign object to you? Go ahead and add it into your own playing, into your own practice, and see how it transforms your playing. Thanks for hanging with me today. My name is Matthew Dale. I'm here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. And I'm going to jam out some more on this track, and I'll see you next time.